workers are taking sick leave has hit a 10-year high. Now, doctors, employers, job centres and social workers and charities are going to be encouraged to suggest therapy and life coaching under plans to create a national occupational health service and reduce the number of people GPs need to sign off work. This is something that the government is very, very focused on because it wants to improve productivity as well. Joining me to discuss this is Deven Ghelani, Director of Policy in Practice, who was one of the architects of the Universal Credit System. Good morning to you, Deven. Life coaches and running clubs, is that the way to get people back to work?
I don't think it's a bad thing to try. I don't think it's going to get people back, lots of people back into work all on its own. But it's much better to be talking about supportive approaches that help people build their confidence, help people build their social networks, do actually positive things in people's lives rather than just coming on and talking about sanctions all the time.
What we understand is that community activities such as singing, gardening clubs will be offered through NHS social prescribing initiatives. Do you think that those are welcome? Because there is a problem here with an increasing number of people actually incapacitated, unable to go back to work. We've got the hangover of long COVID as well. There are many, many issues. We're becoming an increasingly sickly nation, aren't we?
Yeah, there is a big problem with inactivity. You've got over 1 in 5 people of working age in the UK who aren't looking for work because they don't feel able to. Sometimes that's because they've got caring responsibilities for children, but sometimes it's for older people, and sometimes it's because they're sick themselves. If you think about their first steps, the first steps they might be able to take toward work, sometimes that is, volunteering or doing some gardening or, making some, just getting out there, getting out and about and making some friends. It's really important that we don't just look at this type of support as a fad. I think if you look at kind of your life, Ali, I don't know what clubs you're a part of, but I play football twice a week. It's one of the best things I do every week, right? So giving people the opportunity to build that kind of level of network is really important. It can't make up. It's really important we make this point. It can't make up for gaps in social security, gaps in financial support that people need, or sometimes proper mental health support, which is sometimes what people need. This helps people's mental well-being, but if they need proper mental health support, that support needs to be in the community as well for some of the people that we're talking about.
Well, Deven, you mentioned clubs and which ones I'm a member of. You've got to listen to the next hour because we're going to be talking about clubs and clubbing at 9 o'clock. Now, Mel Stride, the Work and Pension Secretary, and Victoria Atkins, the Health Secretary, said the scheme was not a one-size-fits-all, but they hoped it would work with other services to help people stay in employment. And they said this in particular: we know that the longer someone spends out of work, the harder it becomes for them to find a job. We also know that 1 in 5 of those claiming the highest level of health benefits want to work and feel that they could do so with the right support. So this is about supporting people who want to work, to get the confidence, the skills, and also the social connections to maintain them to get back into the workplace, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's much better to be talking about these kinds of supportive approaches than just, like I said at the top, just be talking about the stick all the time, talking about sanctions, taking money away from people. That isn't really what people need. That isn't really what helps people get closer to the labour market. What people do want and need is the kind of support that they actually want to be a part of, that makes them want to go to the job centre, spend time with their work coach. I mean, there were efforts like this tried about 10 years ago. I remember when Universal Credit was first introduced, there were efforts to kind of transform job centres and the culture of job centres. And I remember visiting one in 2014 and just hearing some really positive stories from people. And I remember, the contrast of being in the coffee shop beforehand and hearing someone say, I've just been to the job centre and, they were really nice to me. and that feeling like such a, it's not a great sign when that's a shock to someone, right?
Of course.
That's a surprise, right? So you want that kind of, but making those kinds of approaches stick. And having a pilot that I think is going live in about 14 areas initially, that's one thing. Making it stick and scale and make the kind of transformation we need is going to be a bigger job.
Well, we shall see how it develops. Thank you very much indeed. That was Deven Ghelani, Director of Policy in Practice, who was one of the architects of the Universal Credit System.